Okay, welcome to the channel. My name is Victor, and I'm going to be your anchor for this training. So this is the data science for healthcare professionals. So if you're a healthcare professional, if you're looking at seeing how you can apply data science to healthcare, then this is for you. Okay, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, to share this video to as many healthcare professionals as possible that you have access and contact with. So we're going to be looking at what data science is, how it applies to healthcare, the benefits, and also how you can get started. So this is Clarity Medical Consulting, a medical consulting firm that does trainings for medical professionals, research work, analytics work, job alert service, and several other services that we have at Claridin. So you could visit the website at claridinconsults.com, shoot us a mail at hello@claridinconsults.com. So the question is, what is data science, right? What is data science? So data science is typically the process of trying to get insight, the process of trying to get information from raw data. Now you're going to be using some scientific method, you're going to be using some processes, you're going to be using some tools, some softwares, or some methodologies, some techniques. The goal is that whenever you have raw data, you want to see how you can get insight. You want to see how you can get information from that particular data set. Imagine in a hospital where you have um, data records and files for about thousands of patients, thousands for persons using the facility. The question is that how do I get to understand how many males, how many females, how many of them are between age 0 to 10, how many are teenagers, how many are young adults, how many are middle-aged persons, how many are the elderly. How do I get that particular kind of insight? How many have maybe chronic disease? How many need intensive care? How many will be needing maybe admission? Do we have more males or do we have more females? Do we have more wards for uh, the elderly? So you need to say, how do I provide insight, or how do I get insight? How do I get intelligence from data? So that's what data science is about. And we're trying to see how we could adapt this to healthcare. So a number of factors make data science very indispensable in healthcare. So you cannot make decisions. C-level executives like chief medical director, chief finance officer, chief executive officer, uh, all of the C-level executives, they will need to have insights. You need to provide valuable information. The pharmacy head, the persons in charge of procurement, the persons that are going to be restocking the inventory in the hospital or in the lab or in the, even if you offer uh, allied medical services, right? Even if you're not doing core medical services, you're going to need to have insight on whatever data that you have from time to time. So that's where data science comes in. So the collection of patients data through proper channels can help have improved our healthcare delivery. So imagine for that hospital, like I gave you as an example, and when you don't have information from that data, you will not be able to tell that you need more uh, uh, staff to medical professionals to take care of maybe diagnostic services. You wouldn't tell whether you need whether a particular drug is in high demand or much demand in the hospital. So you're going to be doing a lot of guesswork. So with data analytics, like somebody just said 2 days ago, that in my place of work, I'm being told that we are sitting on data, right? So you can have a lot of data and you're not doing anything tangible with it. So that's where data science comes in. So you're trying to learn, how do you collect data? How do you clean up the data? How do you start processing the data, doing some exploratory data analysis, trying to run some charts, right? Trying to run some descriptive analysis, trying to now be able to also tell about the future, because in data science, once you're able to gather enough data, you can tell what tomorrow holds. That's why if you want to go into research, if you want to go into for healthcare, if you want to go into decision making, then you should be able to learn how to get data, clean it up, exploit it, then be able to do forecast with it. So, what are some of the benefits of data science in healthcare? So, there are numerous benefits, but I just laid out about five of them to ease the workflow of the healthcare system. Now, if we have a lot of data and we're not maximizing, we're not using that data, we'll have a lot of bottlenecks. We wouldn't understand where we need more professionals, where we need more inputs, more consumables. We won't understand where we need more, maybe bed space. We won't understand because everything is going to be very coercive. Everything is going to be very not kind of organized. So that workflow, that ease of workflow, can only come into uh, uh, limelight if we have some kind of structure, if we have some kind of insight. And what a data analyst does is typically to take unstructured data and turn it into structured data. If you go to most hospitals, if you go to most healthcare facilities, if you go to most diagnostics lab, if you go to let's say diet, or you have some dietitians there where they provide assistance to persons that need maybe to use food to take care of different kind of ailments. You see that you have a lot of data, you have a lot of records that are very unstructured. So that improved workflow can be made possible with data analytics skills. Number two, you want to also reduce the risks of treatment failure. Now, if I have success rate of a particular treatment method over the last 10, 15 years, I can be able to tell what is going to be my best bet for a particular treatment type in the coming years based on some certain kind of conditions, right? So you tend to reduce the treatment failure. Now, proper treatment on time. Yes, if I have 1,000 patients average, and I have 600, 700 of them are kids that need medical assistance, that need health care. Now, because I don't have data, or I have data and I've not analyzed such kind of data, I've not provided insight on such kind of data to be able to have this record, then there will be issue with time management, because you are going to have issues where people will not get value, people will not get service delivery on time. Now, you want to avoid unnecessary emergencies due to the non-availability of doctors. So if you cannot analyze the data that you have to tell where you need more doctors, where you need more assistants, where you need more diagnostic service, where you need more counseling service, where you need more, all of that. So you going to have emergencies. You're going to have, imagine for a hospital, if you've gathered data over the last 3, 4, 5 years to know at what time of the year you have your peak um, uh, uh, patient driving, it then means that at those particular time of the year, you can make good arrangements. You could make alternatives. You could collapse some sections of your facility to be able to take care of some needs that you know that are going to arise at that particular point in time, right? So to reduce the waiting time for patients, data is very important. Now you have data science in healthcare. So healthcare industry is revolutionizing, but data analytics, data science can apply to machine learning. I'll talk about machine learning later on in this series of recordings, in this series of training, because for you to do machine learning, for instance, and artificial intelligence, it goes through some series of processes. First, you need to collect data. You need to clean up the data, standardize it. Imagine if you're collecting data of patients' height, and somebody is collecting that data at per meters. Somebody is collecting it in centimeters. Somebody is collecting it in feet. Somebody is collecting it in what's it called, in uh, inches. So you have different units, SI units. So you need to standardize it, you need to normalize it, you need to clean it up and have one format. Or somebody enters a particular data as Lagos, Lagos. Somebody enters it as LAG. Somebody enters it as maybe Lasgidi or something else. So each of these cities, any software you're going to use is going to see that different cities. So at this third stage, you need to be able to clean up that and make sure everything is standardized. So you collect the data, you clean up the data, or you do data entry first, then you clean up the data, then you start exploring the data. That's so you start running charts, bar charts, you start doing descriptive analysis. You want to know how many of these, you run some frequency tables, how many persons here, how many persons there. Once you're done with that, that's where machine learning now comes in. In machine learning, you're trying to look for patterns. You're trying to look for trends. You're trying to look for some kind of consistency in your data. So it's once you've done that, you can now start doing artificial intelligence. You can start doing AI. In AI, you're trying to, because in AI, we say your data, for instance, or rather your intelligence is a human intelligence. So you want to see how you can use data to provide intelligence. That's what AI is about. And there are some applications we have here. So you have data science in healthcare. So it can be applied in several areas. For instance, in genetics and genomics. So genetics, we're talking about gene, study of gene as it translates into the different generations from generation to generations. And genomics, you're talking about you wanting to study as in a person, right? The genes you have within just one person, whereas in genetics, you're talking about the different generations. Of course, in data management, you have several data. You want to see how you can get insights, you can get intelligence. Whatever data set that you have, you want to make sure that you can learn from it and be able to make proper decisions. Don't forget, the goal while you're learning data science, the goal while you're trying to apply this in healthcare so that you can make decisions. Drug discovery. So there's a lot of processes, there's a lot of a series of a process in trying to make discovery for drugs. A lot of testing happens in machine learning. We'll talk about A and B testing. We'll talk about splitting data set, testing data set, and the rest. I remember for basic science, for instance, you normally be told, okay, what are the conditions that you have for growth or for plants, for instance, and you are told, okay, you need light, you need sunlight, you need water, you need good soil, you need this and that. So you have some kind of controlled experiment. Same thing in drugs discovery. That's why, for instance, if you're sick, you're being told, okay, you're going to do some sensitivity. You want to know which of this is going to work, which of this is going to work. So there's a lot of testing that goes on in drug discovery. That's where data science comes in, because you're going to be dealing with data. You're going to be testing, right? You're going to have a kind of a control test. Then you're going to have that which you can be able to use to make your decision. Then, of course, virtual assistants in uh, big and global healthcare service providers. Now, you're going to have different people maybe texting, calling, people try to use your services and the rest. So you could deploy robots, you could deploy AI, you could deploy charts to be able to help you attend to all of these things. Then, of course, predictive analysis. You want to be able to tell the future, like I said earlier on. You want to be able to make decisions. Then in image analysis, imagine even there are several libraries in some programming languages like Python, image recognition that can help you to do that. The one that you might be very used to is in, for instance, in traffic lights, traffic offenses. Just a camera can pick up your car plate number, analyze it, check it to the database. Same thing that your machines will be able to check your body parts, compare it with what data set it has, and be able to tell, okay, this is what the issue is. So these are some of the reasons, these are some of the areas that data science can be applied in healthcare. Now, I'm going to be reviewing a research paper For instance, in these are some other areas also, secured and shareable medical records. In most developing countries, you have issues with data sharing, you have issues with medical records, you have issues with shareables, right? Because if you have a centralized data bank where you have people, patients, their records, people can be able to, and other health facilities can be able to pull up those records and make decisions from it. Because you need medical history. So, and that is going to be stored somewhere. So you could search the medical database, you could make better and informed decision because you have such kind of records. And you can also have optimized and integrated care. So whether somebody's coming for ENT, coming for heart, coming for brain, you could, yes, coming for any part of any needs that that needs to be attended to. Because you have data, then you can be able to make such kind of decisions. Then, of course, improve monitoring. You have automated lab work. You have standardized image recognition. You have drug interaction detection. You have personalized medicine. Because if you don't have data, you're going to be giving me some kind of generic services. You won't offer me specific service. If you have 1,000 person coming to a facility, for instance, uh, if you understand what their records are, then you're able to provide detailed and fine-tuned and specific services to them. But if you don't have good records, you might just send me anything. Look at when you visit an online shopping website or Amazon, eBay, for instance. All of the sites, all of the pages and whatever you visited before, that's the kind of related stuff you're going to be served. That is personalized service. If you browse or if you use the internet, for instance, you see that your likes, the pages, the kind of pages that you visit is going to tell the kind of ad that you're going to receive for you to click. So that same thing applies to healthcare. So I'm going to be concluding this very short heads up to data science by looking at this research paper. So the research paper looks at the role of data science in healthcare advancement, application benefits, and future prospects. It's very recent research, July 2021. Should I just scan through it? So data science is a multidisciplinary field that extracts knowledge and insight from many structured and unstructured data. I said that. So you could go through different scientific methods. You could do data mining. That's when you extract data from either from websites, from text, from numbers, from different other sources. You could use machine learning algorithm. I've explained that there are several machine learning algorithms like k-means, logistics regression, linear regression, random forest. There's so many of them. Or it can be big data. Big data is when you have data that it's in millions of rows. You know, if when you use Excel, for instance, you just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 of rows for you to analyze. Imagine if you have a population of 1,000,000, there are data medical records that you're going to have. You will need big data applications, right, to be able to help you run and analyze this kind of data. Okay, some of the keywords here are big data, data analytics, data mining, healthcare informatics. Okay, so let's scan through some. So you have search strategy, knowledge about big data. I'm going to drop this research work for you so that you can go through. Medical care as a repository for big data. Yes, there are tons and tons and multitudes of persons trying to access healthcare. That provides us with good data sets. And with that data set, we can be able to tell a lot of information, get a lot of information about our population. We can be able to tell what prevalent, we can be able to tell the prevalent healthcare challenges that we have. We can be able to tell what's happening to our kids, our maybe lactating mothers, pregnant persons that either in their first trimester, in the second trimester, in the third trimester. We can see the causes for death, the likelihood for death, the rate at which we have the different kind of parameters that we might be interested in. We can see a lot of things we can get from just data. Okay, so these are some big data tools: Apache Hadoop, Apache Spark, Cassandra, and the rest. So data mining, so big data in healthcare. So you have electronic health records, you have payer record, especially if you're talking about insurance, right? Then you have generic search for big data, engine data. You have generic database. You have smartphones, because these smartphones and wearable devices are going to get things like your heartbeats. They're going to get things like your pulse. They're going to get your temperature. They're going to get your strides if you do exercises and the rest. So you have a lot of public government agencies, public records. They can help us get a lot of data. I mean, big data, millions of records. So you have quite a lot of data sets that is possible for you to work with. So data science analytics. So you have for disease surveillance. If you're trying to monitor like during COVID, you have a lot of dashboard displaying a lot of areas where you have more prevalence rates. You can be able to do fraud detection. You can be able to administer health properly. So everything just have to do with data. So image processing, disease surveillance, data from wearable technology like Apple, Google, they all have this either wristwatch or handbands that you could have that can have, they will have sensors able to help you get data. Okay, so it's quite a nice research work. You could look at it and that will spur your interest in data analytics for healthcare. Pharmacovigilance. So where you're trying to track, you're trying to identify uh, uh, adverse drug reactions. You want to be able to tell, okay, if it's expired, if it's still in use, what are the effects of the drugs and the rest. So that's one we look at the way that you check if a drug is valid or not. You have a database of numbers assigned to each of the different batches of the drugs. So if you scratch it, maybe send it to an email, send it to a phone number, send it as an SMS to a particular 5-digit or 6-digit code. It gives you a response whether this particular drug is valid or is expired. It tells you the batch number, tells you the manufacturer and the rest. That is an aspect of pharmacovigilance. So you cannot do that without data. So you need to have data, then of course, via QR code or via barcode, or by just a simple number on the drug pack, then you can have some kind of back and forth confirmation. So you see some challenges in data as it regards healthcare. Then you have reference, you have a conclusion. Let me scan through this a bit. So larger patients data sets can be obtained from medical care organization that includes data from surveillance, laboratory, genomics, imaging, electronic healthcare records. These data requires proper management and analysis to derive meaningful information. Long-term visions for self-management, improve health patient care. Because once you have good data, you can send notifications to patients, you can tell them what drugs to take, you can, and then you could help make them feedback data into your systems, and people can actually not visit the facility too frequently. Just like in banking, back in the days, for you to make any transaction, you have to visit the bank. But these days, for you to do transactions, you don't need that all again. They have data proper data about what your records are, what your bank account statement is, what your transactions are. They provide an app for you. All you just need to do is log into that app and you can make transactions. Okay, that will be all for this review. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to try to run you through what the process for data analytics in healthcare can be. One of the first thing you want to do is to collect data from secondary sources, or you could collect data from primary source. So primary source is going to be you now trying to scout for your own data, right? So we're going to walk through questionnaire design. So thank you very much. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell other healthcare professionals that are interested in data analytics.